Quite the cap to the main card, main event. You got a new champion. Talk to me about Vadim Nemkov and what you thought of his performance.
That was one of the most explosive 2-round fights I've seen. It was at a very high level, and Nemkov really impressed me because Ryan Bader is a world-class athlete, world-class fighter. He's still a heavyweight champ, right? And he was coming in here, and it just didn't work out for him tonight. I know he'll be back, but Nemkov is a beast, man. He has everything. He has, obviously the wrestling to deal with the top wrestlers in the world. Great striking, great movement. I think the movement is the one that gave Ryan the hardest time was that movement because he kept circling out and basically they got into a real big throw down the first round. I think Ryan hit him a couple of good times going back and forth, but I think ultimately the speed is what hurt Ryan's efforts today.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into this fight, you talked about how you thought Bellator had the best 205-pound division. Now that you have that guy as champion, where do you stand on that?
I mean, I just think that put an exclamation point at the end of my statement because when John Jones moves up to a heavyweight, clearly we have the best division. And Nemkov had a great fight with Phil Davis and went to a decision. He beat Liam McGarry, clearly. But when I think about Phil Davis and Nemkov and Bader, and I think that with Corey Anderson on board now, I mean we're gonna have a fun time fighting these guys and getting some great fights out of them. And I still feel the same way that we have the best 205-pound light heavyweight division in MMA right now.
And he mentioned when we asked him, what do you think's next? He mentioned, you got Machida and Davis, and he didn't think Corey could really cut the line. He didn't think that was fair. So for you, I mean, what do you think's next for him? Do you think Anderson could slide, or you think he has to win a fight in Bellator before he gets that?
I'll tell you, that's something I could answer for you probably on Monday, because I always like to go back and talk to my team and get some feelings, and timing's an issue too when he'll be ready to fight again and who's available at that time. But listen, I think that we have 5-6 people that I think that could get in there and really have some great fight offs and give him a test. But this is his night. It was very clear early on to me that this is going to be a good night for him, and it worked out. And Fedor's happy. I think that Nemkov's happy. The whole Russian team's happy, and it was a well-deserved victory for Nemkov.
Yeah, and in the co-main event, Julia Budd, your former champion, picked up another win, bounced back. Do you think she's the number one contender right now? What were your thoughts on the performance and where she goes from here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that she's definitely right in there, and she had a great win today against a tough girl. That she was tough, man. She took a lot of shots, and I thought there after about a round and a half, I thought, this might be a tough night for Julia, but I think she turned it on. I think she saw the urgency there, and then she just turned it on and dominated. I think the last half of the second round, and then all the third round. So, it was a great win for her, and I'm sure she's going to gain some confidence from this. And we still have a lot of confidence in her that she can perform. But who she'll fight next, we're not sure right now.
Just 2 more for me. Roy Nelson came over to you after his loss, and I think he said that he wants to fight Mitrione in a trilogy. After his last loss, you kind of mentioned you thought it might be time for him to retire. Do you want to bring him back for one more to kind of have a swan song, or are you just...
Again, that's something that I really want to go back and talk to my guys about that, because they're in the trenches every day, and they should have some input with these guys and what's going to happen. But we got to talk to Mitrione too and see if it's something he's even interested in, and then we'll make that decision.
All right, last one from me. When I talked to you the other day, you said that you were going to meet with Fedor and talk some business that night. How did it go?
Yeah, I mean, it went great. I mean, he understands that we're going to probably fight maybe towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. He would like to fight in front of a crowd, to be honest. So we're going to see how things go with the COVID situation. And, the plan was always not to fight him here in the United States, to be honest. Although he did say he loves Chicago and then New York and then LA. But, he said he would like to fight in Europe, and he would like to fight in his hometown. And so, we're exploring all the options. As you guys know, it's a difficult situation to travel right now, but I think in time we'll be able to put it together and we'll do it right.
Scott, 3 very successful cards. I mean, are there any fighters? I'm sure Nemkov is one of them. Are there any fighters that really have stood out to you on any of these 3 cards?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have a great roster, and I thought Michael Chandler did a great job last week, and Benson. I mean, he's a tough kid too, and he got caught, and that's what it is. But it shows you how much power Michael has. I thought he was impressive. I thought Sergio Pettis had a great fight, and to me, the way Julia kept pressuring her towards the end of the fight, I said, okay, she is really stepping up and showing us what she's got, and she's got a great team over there. But like you said, besides Nemkov, but really tonight really was about Nemkov, right? So to me, it's like, I think this fight really puts a stamp on how great of a fighter this guy is, because like I said, Ryan Bader is, he's the real deal too. So, he looked great, and we're looking forward to putting in some great opportunities.
And you brought up Michael Chandler. He's kind of been playing matchmaker on Twitter with some UFC guys. I mean, have you spoken with him at all?
I think that we've been speaking to Michael for 5-6 months, and again, you guys, there is a business component to this relationship with every fighter, and it's just part of the business, right? And so, there has, at the end of the day, we're going to make some decisions based on sound statistics and sound principles of what we need to do as a company, and we would like to make a deal with Michael, but we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, he's a great kid. He's been great for Bellator. I think he's been here for 10-12 years. I mean, he's had a great run, and we'd like to continue. It'd be great to have him stay and retire, but it doesn't always work out. Free agency goes both ways, right? And so sometimes you win, with Corey Anderson, and sometimes you lose. It's like you don't know. So, but we're still in the game, and we'll see what happens.
Someone you did just resign is Valerie Loureda. I mean, can you speak on that fight contract? And I mean, how important was it to kind of lock her up for the future?
I mean, what I really like about her was when we first, I don't want to say discovered her, or we're looking for more female fighters in the 125-pound weight class. She's a traditional martial artist. The father teaches Taekwondo. The daughter's trained. I mean, her sister trains, and she's. I think she's got, some kicking skills, and she got some punching skills. And what I really liked is that she is in the gym. She's training in MMA. She's learning the game of mixed martial arts, and not just sticking to her traditional style, which she's going to have because you're going to have to learn how to punch, which she has, obviously. You guys saw she's got some good power, good timing. Listen, I think the world enjoyed her TikTok dance, right? It was a great thing. And, she had a lot of engagement in that, and that's, we'll take it. It's great for us too. But at the end of the day, you have to put your time in, and you have to learn to be a complete mixed martial arts fighter, which she's doing. And I think that you're just going to see her grow and grow and grow, because she's athletic, right? She's in shape. She comes to fight. She's got that little mean little thing that you got to have, that little spirit to fight, to really be in the cage, being a warrior. And so she's got that little grit about her. And, she could do this. She just has to keep training and get better and better. And listen, I look forward to putting her back into the cage soon, because we want to keep her going and keep her fighting, and getting her to where she has enough experience to really start fighting the top girls.
And last one for me, I mean, how happy are you with how smoothly things have run here at Mohegan Sun with Bellator?
It is really amazing. And last 2 weeks ago last week on my staff call, I said, guys, I'm really proud of all you guys, because this is not our core business. If you think about it, right? Setting up an operation like this, arrange COVID testing, getting it back in 12 hours, testing all these athletes, running them through this, little gauntlet here. This is not our core business, We really became we got into the COVID business. Let's put it that way, right? And so, coming from running a fight company and operations of a fight company and adapting to this scenario, has been impressive to watch our guys really adapt, stay fluid, and get it done. Because I just told them, I said, look, this was like months ago. I said, there's all these protocols that we have to do. As a company, we have to do it. And our parent company is demanding us to do it too. So we are going to do this. And no one had any idea. Like, okay, what does that mean? And so as the directive came down, they started talking to the parent company about protocols and compliance issues. And then once we figured out this is it, I said, okay, guys, I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you guys got to hire more people, but professionals, find infectious disease doctors, you guys go figure it out. And then they did, and they have been very successful at it. So I'm very proud of them.
All right, we'll take a couple of questions from the internet. First up is Kevin Varghese.
Great job running a string of events so far. How has it been from a president's perspective of running everything, getting everything set up for the first event and then just continuing and pushing through, especially with, COVID still being around?
I'll tell you, it's just different, right? But we have to adapt and we have to stay fluid, because right now this is the new normal. And do I think it's going to be like this for a long time? I mean, years? No. But do I think it's going to be like this for months? Maybe 6-8 months. I do think that, it's going to be a situation where we're going to have to deal with it. Listen, nobody wanted this to happen. It happened. And, we are dealing with it. And I think that we're doing a good job. And, the fights have been great. I really enjoyed watching the fights. And, seeing the quality of fights, coming out of the Mohegan Sun has been, I think, world class and, as good as anybody else. So to me, tonight you saw super high level mixed martial arts at the light heavyweight division and Julia Budd's fight. And, it's just really nice to see it. But, would it be nice to have, 10,000 people here in the arena like we normally have? Sure. But it's not going to happen. And I think that until, we figure this whole thing out as a not just a country, but as the rest of the world and everybody, we got to figure this thing out. As they figure it out worldwide, we'll adapt and we'll be part of, how we set up the next future fights. And, if we can start doing audience of 25%, 50%, we'll do it. But, being here and, being involved and just seeing this event with no crowd, it's just a different feeling. But it is what it is. I'm just glad that we could, bring it to our fight fans and get our fights back on the air.
Sean Lennon.
Scott, congratulations on another successful event. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of the fighters on the prelim card. First is Yaroslav Amosov, now 23-0. How excited are you to slot him on a main card? So
yeah, you know what? I think he's earned his way onto the main card. And I was just talking to my guys here, and that was one of the first names that popped up. Is that we got to put this guy on the main card because he's a beast, and I look forward to him continue his growth as a mixed martial arts fighter. I look forward to putting him up against some real big competition and let him start testing himself, because he's earned that shot.
All right, Giancarlo, your line is now live.
Hi, Scott. One of the big fights you had planned before everything went on pause was Douglas Lima moving up to 185 to take on Gegard Mousasi for that vacant title. Is that fight still the plan? Because like you mentioned before, there's still travel issues with some fighters.
Yes, the good news is we were able to obtain a proper visa for Gegard and his team to come into the U.S. So you will see that fight probably here at the Mohegan Sun before the end of the year.
All right, our next question comes from Randall Folks.
Scott, you've had 3 great events at the Mohegan Sun since the pandemic started. You have 2 more lined up in 3 weeks. Do you plan on going to another venue in the near future, or is the Mohegan Sun your home for the foreseeable future?
I mean, I think we're going to stay here. Everything is set up here. We have the production already set up. The trucks are here. The lighting's here. Everything just stays here. And as you probably know, we've been switching back and forth with Showtime Boxing. They use the same set, the same lights, the same cameras, the same set design. So I think that we'll be staying here until things change. And I think it's going to be probably through the end of the year that we'll be here, and then we'll evaluate it from there. I mean, if things change and there's a vaccine or they figure out how many people will be allowed in audiences in the near future, we'll make a decision at that time. But the hotel's been great to us. We've had a really good time here. I think we put on some great events. I think we have the best set design and production in MMA or even in combat sports right now, quite frankly. And I think it just looks fantastic inside the arena, and on TV, it looks amazing. So to me, it's all set up here. I think we're going to stay here. This will be the home of Bellator for the next several months.
Baldwin.
Hey, Scott. Just a question about Bader. After tonight's loss, he's, of course, still the heavyweight champion. Would you say the plan for him would be to focus at heavyweight? And, do you see his days at 205 as over, or can he eventually, go back down and try and recapture this belt? What do you think?
I mean, I think I haven't talked to Ryan, so I'm just speculating here, but I believe that he'll probably want to go back to heavyweight and fight some heavyweight fights. But I do think this, as a fighter, he's going to want to come back and avenge this defeat at some point. And so whether we do it, as a heavyweight or he wants to come back right away, we'll let him decide. But, my guess, again, it's just speculation that he'll want to move up to heavyweight for a couple fights, and then he's going to want to fight Nemkov again. That's what I think.
Is there anybody in mind for his next heavyweight title defense?
You know what? We have some heavyweights fighting here, and I think that we haven't announced it yet, so I don't want to say what they are, but we have a couple heavyweight fights in early October. We haven't announced these fights, like I said, so I really don't want to talk about it, but we do have some fights coming up where we have some heavyweights, and we'll take it from there. But because of the stoppage, Ryan's going to be on suspension for probably 90 days or whatever the commission puts on him, and then we'll decide what to do. But I think beginning of next year he's going to want to fight again, and we'll put him in a great heavyweight matchup.
John Eric Poli.
You guys have a partnership with Showtime Boxing. I was wondering if you could kind of explain on what all that entails and what we could see out of that in the future. Well,
as you probably know, we're from the same company now. Once the merger happened and Viacom and CBS merged back together, Showtime is part of the family, and so you'll see a lot more, let's say back and forth promotion, and you'll see maybe some of our fighters at some of the big Showtime fights and back and forth. Same thing on the other side, and but when we talk about production, we made a deal with Steven and said, hey, why don't you come to the Mohegan Sun and let's work together. And I think it's worked out well, because for the last 3 weeks since we started, every other week they've been doing boxing. And so, the setup's here, and we worked it out and worked out the dates. But so there's a collaboration here, and I think that the collaboration will just get bigger and bigger as time goes. But it's a beginning, and it's, I did a lot of fights with those guys, and it's the same guys. And you know what? They are, excited that we're here and part of the family.
We'll take one last question here from Connor Northrup.
Obviously, there's a storyline here with Team Fedor and Ryan Bader, especially after this one. But how far is a guy like Valentin Moldavsky away from getting a potential heavyweight shot?
That's a good question. I mean, that's something that, we'll sit down and map that out, because, right now we have some fights coming up in October that we're going to have some guys fight, and in the heavyweight division, and every fight is an elimination process. So for me, we still have Nemkov in the mix, and Moldavsky's in the mix, and Johnson's in the mix. There's we're going to start fighting these guys off, and then we'll have the winner come fight Ryan. So to me, a lot of that will depend on when Bader. Well, one, if Bader wants to defend his heavyweight belt, and then timing of when he could do it, and how we're going to put the other fights together. So, that's a tricky one, but I think you'll see Ryan fight in the heavyweight division before the end of first quarter next year for sure.